Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the Podcast Playground. Please give us that 5-star review, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you do your potting. And of course, follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill, the podcast. And you can always, if you like, send us an email. It's BJ and Bill podcast at gmail.com. As we welcome you to episode 105, my friends.
Yay! We're almost done with the FM radio band.
Yeah, we only got a couple more shows. Wait, is there
a few more shows and we'll be out of the FM band as well. So we worked our way through all the way up from, 88 point whatever to when you get to 107. That's a totally inside radio line and nobody will get it, but I thought I had to throw it in there. Good morning.
I think some people will get it.
Some people will get it.
But now what? We're into the AM, 1100,
Right. Oh my God. Yeah. Add another 0 on the end of what we're doing. Oh my God. Another 10 years of shows with you. I don't know. I don't know if I can take that or not. I don't know. So it's all right. Boy, I'm looking. I know nobody can see us this morning. As usual, we'll do the Zoom call. And BJ Odom, of course, always with that little kind of goatee action going on there. And man, I'm noticing I am scruffy as all get out here. I don't know. I couldn't tell you the last time I shaved this face, and it's not going to happen today because, well, it's just not going to happen.
That's a good look for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're a manly man. You should look like a manly man.
Yeah, but it's so gray. It's all right. We were just talking before we started, and yeah, we had, as we record this, as always, on a Monday. We're working the holiday for you folks, by the way. You should be appreciative. We're working the Labor Day holiday. We played pickleball. We always play pickleball here in Gainesville on a Sunday night, and because today was the Monday holiday, I guess a lot of people thought that they could join us on a Sunday night when they wouldn't. We had a big crowd. We had about a dozen people, more than that. And we played well into the night. Like we played from 7:30 to 10:30 at night. And I am so sore this morning. I'm going to pull out my friend Shaq's favorite product, Icy Hot, and just spray it all over myself. So
I didn't do a whole lot, this weekend. I'm still kind of recuperating from my cold. My wife, though, she went to Epcot to a concert on Friday night
without you.
I said I'm recuperating. I don't feel that good. And the daughter and the boyfriend went with her because they wanted to see the band too. So I'm like, go have fun.
Oh, okay. All
Let
right,
me
cool.
enjoy the basketball game. Which I thought I was going to be disappointed at because I thought it was on ESPN.
Right.
So about 7 o'clock, I'm turning it on ESPN, seeing if there's a pregame or something. I'm going, it's not listed.
No.
Maybe it's on ESPN Plus.
Right.
I go there.
No.
It's not listed.
Oh.
I go, oh my God, I stayed home and there's no basketball game.
And right.
And just for, I don't know, just for shits and giggles, I thought I would go, to Amazon or whatever they call their platform.
Amazon Prime, yes.
And I went there, and there it is.
There you go.
Pregame show is on, and they're all talking about the Chicago, Indiana women's basketball game.
Perfect.
Good game, too.
I didn't see that one. I saw the one last night against Dallas, Indiana Fever, Dallas, that Wings or something like that. That was a good game too. You're talking to two men here, two old, fat, grumpy men who are totally loving the women's NBA this year, just enjoying the heck out of it. And I admit I watch it mostly for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, but I'm watching other games too. And just to see how it's going. Yeah, it's great. It's great. So,
and it makes me wonder, has the product always really been this good and we just kind of ignored it? or is the product improving as the years go on?
Right. That's a really good question. Really.
And I guess we need to sit down with someone who basically has
Right.
watched the WNBA for maybe, 5, 6, 7 years, and they can
Right.
say, it's been this good the whole time, you idiots.
Where have you been? Right. Right. And I don't doubt that, because I mean, past superstar, Sue Bird and all of those, I can't even remember all the names, but lots of big superstar names have been in the game in the past. And I guess it just took, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and others to bring the attention they were getting from college, to bring that with them into the new game. New game for them, new game. They've been around for, the WNBA been around for 25 years. And now here it is, making a huge splash. I mean, last night on the Dallas game, they mentioned that the Indiana Fever, regardless of home or away, has sold out every game this year except for 2 or 3. And we're talking, they're selling out at home at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the same place the Indiana Pacers play. So they're getting 18,000 at home for the ladies' games. Unbelievable. Not unbelievable. I mean, good for them. Well-deserved. It's a good product. It's a good, like you said, it's a good product. Competitive games, fun to watch. That's all I ask for in sports.
We're not big sports, commentators or anything, but I did watch the game Friday night, and I gotta mention it, at least give it a mention. Caitlin Clark took some fouls that you wouldn't even see in the NBA.
Right.
It was just, I'm just going to say it. It was just cheap shots.
Yeah.
And hard cheap shots.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, that if people are jealous of her or they're trying to slow her down, I don't, or has this happened, to all the super, because like I said, you and I were kind of new to the WNBA. Maybe this is the way they play. Maybe they play rougher than the boys. But I
don't know about that, but I agree. Yeah.
Because a girl got 2 flagrant fouls, and I thought, at least in the NBA, 2 flagrant
fouls,
and you're out of the game.
Yeah.
He continued to play. Although I do think they maybe benched her after the second one.
Right.
But I don't think that was because of the refs. I think that was because of the coach. And it's
Good question.
Why are and it seems like she's the one that's taking the brunt of these, flagrant, I'm going to knock her on her ass.
Yeah.
For no reason at all.
Yeah. I hope it's not jealousy, because let's face it, ladies, because of people like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and those are the only 2 names that I really know that well of the incoming rookie superstars. I'm sure there were others. They have elevated the game to the point where you're getting eyeballs on the game that you never had before. Like we said, sellouts in big arenas. I'm not saying you need to respect that. I'm just saying that if you're thinking you need to get some revenge on a superstar that's uplifting you and the league, that's some wrong thinking there. That's
that's not
good.
That's not so smart.
That's not so smart. I remember when Angel Reese came into the WNBA and she says, "What? We have to fly commercial?" It's like at LSU, they have their own, she came from LSU, their own airplane, their own facilities, their own it's like they're a million dollar program, sports at major colleges. And now she's got to lower herself to fly commercial for the WNBA. Well, you're the reason now you might have that private plane. Maybe you want to be a little more, I don't know, grateful. I don't know. I'm just saying, play hard, but don't be stupid about it.
Now, our boss, Shaq, he is really pushing for better pay. And he thinks, the league, now that it is getting the eyeballs it's getting, and it is getting the traction it's getting, the ladies should be making more money and,
yes,
things like that. And now, is he saying that because he's really excited about it all of a sudden? Or is he thinking, got a daughter coming up a few years? She might be playing in this league. I'd like to see her make the kind of money, she deserves to make.
Yes.
Either way, I think he's right on that. Right on that.
He is right on with that. They deserve to be making more money. And yes, Shaq's daughter will be a Gator this year. This fall.
I'm excited about that.
I'm very excited about it. Yes.
Might have to go. I don't know if I'm excited about Gator football this year, but
oh my God. Yes. As we record this again, Labor Day Monday. You're welcome, America. Football season, college football season started this weekend. The first games of the year for the big teams are always like, they don't have a preseason in college football. Like we had 3 weeks of preseason football in the NFL. We take this weekend off. We start on Thursday. Yay. There's no preseason in college. So what ends up happening is teams like Ohio State plays Akron, which was in the league that my college was in the MA, the tiny little, barely above high school level teams. Okay, great. Akron, you got a nice payday playing Ohio State, but you lost 60-7.
I don't know. It was sad. That game was sad too.
And Florida, I don't know if it was their idea or not, but Florida decides to come out of the gate strong and play Miami. Quite the nice cross-state game. Awesome. Gators got their Gator butts handed to them here at the Swamp on Saturday afternoon.
Oh, yeah. People were enjoying some Gator tail, that's for sure.
Oh, man. It was close. In the first quarter, it was close. And then Miami decided, oh, okay, we're gonna play now. Okay, great.
Now, because I actually in football follow 2 teams, as I kind of do in basketball also.
Right.
But my second team did well, but they were playing a smaller college too, but not a super small college.
And who is that?
That would be, of course, the Boilermakers of Purdue.
Purdue Boilermakers. I have no idea. Do you know who they played, or was it like
I
one
think
of
it was
those
Indiana
throwaway?
State.
Huh?
I think it was Indiana State.
Yeah. It's
like Terre Haute, nothing. I mean, it's bigger than Vincennes, but it's still one of the major colleges of Indiana. But in fact, I know some graduates that graduate, from Indiana. But yeah,
right.
It wasn't, one of the big competitors, but they pretty well handled them too. But they didn't handle them like Ohio.
Right.
That was just a meltdown.
That was a meltdown. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. And then
Georgia did well also.
Georgia, of course. I mean,
they played Clemson the first game out.
So. Right. That was a real game. And then LSU went out west to play USC and got beat in California last night. That game was on late. If you watch, I don't know if it was last night, the night before. I think it was last night. And LSU got beat. So yeah, so there's some interesting storylines already starting in college football. And here in Gainesville, it's going to be the future employment status of Billy Napier, the coach of the Gators. I don't know.
So I don't know. Let me ask you the more important thing, as Bill Stevens, if you do not know, we're both, of course, from Southwest Florida. That's where we met. That's where we had all our success in the radio world.
Yep.
Until we did this podcast. But how was Gainesville over the weekend? Because it was a home game. And I remember I lived in Gainesville for a year in my early radio career of Florida. Right. And I remember on game weekend, it would get a little busy, a little crazy in town. How was it?
I made a point of staying off the streets and out of the stores and everything. Now, game time, it's like those videos that you see before the tsunami hits the beach, that all the water gets sucked out into the ocean and people go, wow, what's up with that? It's like game time in Gainesville, if you're not downtown, is quiet. Nothing happening. But don't go downtown because A, you'll never find a parking spot, and B, the pedestrian traffic is constant. You'll never get through the main intersections down because there's no parking deck. Well, there might be, but small ones, tiny ones, parking decks around the stadium downtown, which is literally right on University Avenue, which is the main street east-west in downtown. And so the parking is in the neighborhoods all around. And so everybody with a little house or a little storefront is charging $25 to park on their lawn, making big money. Good for them. But forget about it. And then during the game, like I said, very quiet, very quiet. And then it all flows, all that water flows back onto the beach. All those people flow back into town. And yeah, I'm not going to say lucky. I picked it on purpose. My little apartment is far enough away from campus that I don't get any of that spillover. Now, I'll see people come and go because there's a couple of students or employees and university employees that live here in the apartment, but it's definitely not student housing here. Thank God. So anyway, so that's the story. To answer your question, during the game, it's actually quiet here. So yeah.
Well, when I worked in the Gainesville area, I guess I should say, the actual radio station was in Williston.
Williston, yes.
And that's where the studios were. We did have an office there on University.
Yep.
Not the college, but on the street.
Right. That's the street. Yeah.
That's the main street there. So we did have an office, and I would go to that once in a while, but on a Saturday, you didn't have to worry about it because, that was closed on the weekends, the office, but the studios were open, but they were in Williston where you wouldn't even know anything was going on during a football game. You didn't have it on your television because that's kind of out in the boonies.
Yep. Kind of out in the boonies. And that's fine. And that's why I like my small town Gainesville. I like it here. It's nice and quiet. And as long as I'm going to Walmart during the day when all the kids are in class, I'm good. No worries. Just don't go after dinner because it's full of kids.
I was going to say that'd be a good place to go during a football game. Go to your favorite restaurant, just walk in, eat real quick, and then get the hell out of there.
Probably true. Probably true. And you will have the game. It'll be on everywhere, of course.
Oh, but that town. Oh, I do remember that part of living in the area. That town just is, it's like,
it's all blue and orange.
I don't
everything,
care.
Everywhere.
You can walk in to a cigar store and they're still selling, Gator garb somewhere. Yeah. You can buy something, with the Gator logo on it.
I haven't tried that. I'll have to find a cigar store because I do have one now and then. Yeah.
I remember there wasn't a store when I lived there anyway. And that's been like, oh man, that's even before BJ and Bill. So that's been probably 35, 40 years ago. But you could like walk in any store in Gainesville.
Yep.
And they would have Gator garb I don't care what. The dentist office. Oh my God, they're selling Gator t-shirts here at the dentist office.
We laugh, but it's true. It's absolutely true that everything everywhere in this town is Gator something and it's all for sale. That's fine. I mean, good for them. Make a buck. That's fine. So
now I will tell you another story here. Yes. It's kind of like that. I lived in Arcadia. It's okay. It's the Bulldogs and they like their school. And, Friday night, a lot of people go to the game.
Oh, high school game. Yeah, yeah.
But there's another town in that area called Wauchula.
Yes, I know.
And that's the Hardy Wildcats.
Ah.
And that is the closest city, or I shouldn't call it a city. That is the closest town. Do you call that a town? I guess it's
why
I don't know. It's pretty small.
I don't know what level of population you need to reach to be a city or a town or
let's just say Hardy County has a high school.
Yes, of course it does.
Hardy County has a high school.
Yes.
That's the high school for the entire county.
I get it.
So the Hardy County Wildcats is kind of like the Gators. You could walk in almost any store and they have Wildcats gear.
In Hardy County.
Yeah, and they had a Wildcat restaurant called Wildcat something. I forget what it was.
Wow.
And I mean, that is the for a high school team.
Right.
That is and I've lived, Indiana, Kentucky, and right. I've lived, South Carolina.
Right.
But that little town is more like a college town for their high school football team.
Right.
than I have ever seen anywhere else in my entire life.
All right, my suggestion to you, go to Austin, Texas on a Friday night, and you will see that in multiple places. Now, Austin, Texas, huge city. I get it. Texas. The TV show Friday Night Lights about high school football was filmed in Austin, Texas. But yeah, it's a big town. I get it. It's a big city with multiple high schools, and I get it. So, but yeah, a small town like that, very cool.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of towns in the USA, and I know that on Friday night, high school football is it. But I have never been to a town that, like, when they have festivals or they have this or they have that, it's like it's all about the Hardy Wildcat football team. It's nice. It is like living in a small college town. People in Hardy County live for their high school football team. I mean, they live it.
I got no problem with that. If it brings the town together and it helps make it a better place to live or whatever, I got no problem with that. I think that's cool. Community pride is cool. I like it.
I think it's good too, but when I lived there, when I lived in the area and I because when I was at the Bull, we catered to both towns. And whenever I would go there for festivals or anything, I would just be amazed.
Cool.
Because it was, I even tell people, I go, this is like being in a small college town. It's all about, the football team.
Right. And they're like, yes. And
well, what's your point, boy?
That's right. Welcome to town.
If you don't like the Hardy Wildcats, you might as well get out of here or I'll kick your butt.
That's okay, very cool. Well, good. I mean, again, I forget who I had this conversation with. I think probably one of the ladies I was playing pickleball with the other day. We were talking about sports and the Gators and all that. And again, I got to tell it's not a story, it's my little belief about why I love sports and why sports is better than real life. Two teams playing by the same rules, playing on the same field, no backdoor deals, no, you scratch my back, no politics. It's sports. We're going to play really hard. And at the end of an hour or however long, we're going to see who wins based on these rules, this score, this one. I love that.
Now, I will tell you a rule in sports all of a sudden in the last few years that I have come to dislike.
Uh-oh.
That's this new little thing in college sports called the portal.
The portal.
And I'm not talking about the Portal Johns either.
No, that's Porta Johns. But yeah, I understand. Is that the funniest Dr. Pepper commercial of the bunch or not? Where the portal opens up and their star quarterback gets sucked in like a wormhole in Star Trek. Look out, he's going through the portal. So for those who don't know, portal is just a fancy term for the way that players can move between schools, right? Kind of like when you get traded.
Yeah.
Or ask for a trade. Yes.
And I just think and maybe I'm wrong because I know, they from college they go, they play professional, they can make big money.
Sure.
And it is a business. And these young athletes, they have a commodity to them.
Oh, sure.
But I just think these players that go somewhere and then all of a sudden after 2 or 3 years, I'm going to get in the portal and go to another, because those college kids that are the big football players aren't doing squat diddly when it comes to, their education or, what they're trying to achieve educational wise. It's all about, being the next NFL player,
right?
NBA player for that matter.
I'm not sure I totally agree with that, but I hear where you're coming from. Absolutely.
So I think once you commit to a school, unless you get thrown out because you did something bad, right? I think you should be, how many people go, well, I'm going to be a teacher, but I'm getting in the portal because the educational system at the other school will get me a better teaching job at a bigger school.
And wait a minute, the entrepreneur, the free market capitalist in me says, what's wrong with that? If you can't pay me and I'm a really good teacher and another school system comes along and says, hey, come on over through the teacher portal, we'll pay you more.
That's teachers again.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm talking students. The teachers aren't using the portal.
I get it. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe they should. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I was just arguing the other side just to be a pain in the ass, which I'm great at. So excuse me for pouring salt on your tail there. But yeah, I get it. I do. So I mean, I get it. But if you're a great player, if you show up at, if you show up, like you said, Southwest Indiana University or something, I don't know that there is such a place. You show up at a small school and it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm a lot better than everybody around here. Why shouldn't I enter the portal and move over to Columbus? Move over to Ohio State, where I'm going to get a lot more attention, a lot more press. And when the NFL draft comes around, they're way more likely to take a good player from Ohio State than a superstar from an unknown school. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's a good question, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's I don't like the portal, but
I understand. I understand your portal concerns.
I'll do a portal John, or portal John.
Yeah, I've used my share of porta johns in my time, but never a portal. No,
I usually stink like hell too. Though.
Yes, well, stop. I'm trying to have my coffee over here. Okay.
Oh boy!
I know. So anyway,
we talked a little sports. We're big time radio guys. That's that's what that's what our portal was. We became big time radio guys, not football guys, and we got a big time, especially for you people who listen to the BJ and Bill show in Southwest Florida. We've got a big time story for you coming up that if you already live in Southwest Florida, you know about this story, but we're going to bring it up and we're going to talk about it as we continue the BJ and Bill show coming up next, my friends.
And we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. And as we said, if you would like to, we would love for you to leave one of those great 5-star reviews wherever you do your podding, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, you name it, we're there. We're like mold. We're everywhere. And you can leave us a message or even a picture or a joke or something on our Facebook group. Just do a search for BJ and Bill Podcast. And our email address is exactly the same, bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to get in touch. But the review is the big deal. We would love that if you would do that for us. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, before the break, we were talking, there was, for those of you still in Southwest Florida, listening to the radio in Southwest Florida, or have ever been there, we have a lot of our friends, of course, around the country still, that there was big local radio news in Southwest Florida this past week.
Now, I would consider you and I, as we were there for quite some time, as, Southwest Florida legends in radio.
I would hope so.
I would maybe say Rick McGee was a legend, in Southwest Florida radio. Let me see. I'm trying to think of maybe a few more, Alexander and Bennett. That was a big team, and
yeah, from Wink FM. Yeah.
Now they came, of course, they were there while we were there. I mean, I was there before they came to town. You were there before they came to town.
Right.
But they were like, a big deal. And they were there in the earlier, in the 90s.
Yeah. You still have the donut shop?
I think so. Yeah, Bennett's Donuts. Oh man,
that was awesome.
For a guy that I never really got along with, damn, he could make donuts.
Good for him. Time to make the donuts. Anyway, I was going to say it's an inside joke. It's not a joke. After his radio days, he had a donut shop in downtown Fort Myers. I'm going to have to look that up now. But anyway, Alexander and Bennett. Yes, they were kind of I'm not going to say on the way out when we were there, when we started, but there was some overlap, but not a ton.
Yeah. And then, of course, Gina Birch was with them also, who is still in Fort Myers on the radio.
Oh, my gosh.
She's at Sunny. She does mornings on, what is this, 106.7 Sunny? I think that's the name of the station. I'm not for sure, but she's still there. I know that. But as far as all the, Pat Dice, he was there before us,
right.
Doing radio. He is, since gone, but he's one of the, names you might remember from days gone by. Of course, Ted Fitzgeorge.
Ted, good God.
One of
our buddy Ted.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, who else maybe. Paul Conrad has been in that market for a long, long time. He's still on the air.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Is he still on the air? Oh, he must have retired. Well, I was going to say he must have retired, but I don't know that.
Joe Scott, a long-time enemy and friend.
Enemy and friend, yes. Yes.
He badgered me more than I think anybody in radio ever badgered me on the air. But when we got together one-on-one every time, he was like a brother. I mean, he'd give me the shirt off his back.
Sure.
But boy, could he give me hell on the radio. Oh, well, that's another story for another day. But
right.
My son and him got into it, and then they became best friends too. But the reason my son got into it, because when I was having my heart issues and everything else, he was talking about, I needed a heart transplant and all that. And he said, well, that'll be another job opening soon in Southwest Florida. And Gentry happened to hear it, and he took it the wrong way. And he called him, and I guess he put it on the air and everything. But Gentry was testing. It was great. But then they met in real life and became friends. So I said, you don't understand, Joe. That's the way he works. That's his ammo on the air.
Right.
He likes your dad just as much as anybody else, but he'll never say it on the air. But, of course, speaking of Joe Scott, he also worked with these two guys. And if you have not heard the news, they retire. Well, what they said, their last line, which makes me wonder if they're going to do the best of for maybe, who knows, for the next 10 years. But officially retiring Stan and Haney from 96 K-Rock. Kind of like, BJ and Bill.
Right.
Alexander and Bennett.
Right. Famous duos.
Some of the great duos in, Fort Myers, Southwest Florida, that they did live radio there. Now it's all, and most morning shows now are syndicated.
And
of course, they did mornings, and they moved to afternoons, then back to mornings, then back to afternoons again. So they officially did their last, as they said, live show on Friday.
Right. Again,
before the holiday.
Again, a couple of guys who bitched about us a lot, and we bitched about them a lot, but it was great. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Well, all I know, and of course, when I did have my heart transplant,
right?
Because, my wife had to stay in Tampa for, she had to leave work. We had to stay in a hotel for a month.
Right.
In Tampa. So, I was doing a little fundraiser, for my medical expenses. And I never will forget, after Clear Channel let us go.
Right.
After my heart transplant.
Worst corporate move ever.
They jumped on board and said, oh, BJ Odom was let go at Clear Channel having a heart transplant. And we're trying to raise money for him to pay his hospital expenses. And they went on and on and on. And I'm sitting there, people are calling me, my God, are you here standing here? And I'm going, yes, I'm, and it was great what they did for me. And I appreciate it. Of course, Stan and I, we've done things together. Haney, I've hung out with a little bit, but I know Stan better than Haney because he was a good friend of Jim Syons too. So the three of us kind of have palled out a few times. But yeah, the great Stan and Haney are retired from radio and did their last, which makes me wonder if they're going to do best of for a while or not. But they said their last live show on 96 K-Rock.
And again, hats off to them. Awesome. I'm a lot jealous of whoever was running Is it still Beasley Broadcasting?
Yeah, still
right.
Beasley Broadcasting.
Still Beaslly That's the corporate owner, as opposed to Clear Channel, which owned the radio station where BJ and Bill worked. And I don't know, was it just the guts? Was it just the intuition? Was it just the corporate decision to keep those guys on the air for, good Lord, what, 25 years?
I think somebody said they'd been at K-Rock for over 30 years.
30 years. That does not happen in radio. Shout out to my old buddy Kent Jones, who we tried to have on the show once, but we messed up. Anyway, he was a guy who retired from radio. I mean, literally at 65 or 67, whatever. Literally worked radio his whole life. One radio station in Kansas City, and retired. And that doesn't happen in radio. It just doesn't, because things change, formats change, management changes, whatever. But Stan and Haney, for whatever reason, had the blessings of their company. Imagine if our company had the brain power. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't work for them. They owe me nothing. If they'd have been smart enough to keep BJ and Bill on the air, past the heart transplant, past everything, through everything, where we would have ended up and what we would have been able to do for that company. I'm really ranting now,
I'm sitting back enjoying it.
Yeah,
that's
go, Bill, go.
That's why I'm not interrupting you.
If they would have been smart enough but no, oh my God, we got to tweak this, change this, make this better, whatever. And they never had the success in years following the firing of BJ and Bill. They never had the success that they had with BJ and Bill. And they were okay with that. They were okay with being a second-rate radio station after we left, just because they had to have something, some consultant told them something somewhere. Anyway.
Now, even with now, of course, I remember, from the beginning, your radio station, which I think was maybe your first radio station in Southwest Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Which was WRCC.
Me and Paul Conrad.
All of a sudden, that station changed to KISS. I think they called it KISS 104.
Really? See, I didn't even know that.
And their first morning show was Joe Scott. And of course, Stan, when it was Joe and Stan.
Right.
And I believe,
I do remember that.
If I remember right, even back then, Stan came along and was like their news guy.
Right.
But when that format changed to KISS all those years ago, which there's been a couple other KISSes in the Fort Myers market since then.
That's a popular thing, yeah.
But it was a rock station, and it changed from kind of like AC popish,
right,
to a rock station.
Right.
They brought them on board, and then down the road, Beasley Broadcasting bought them, and then they shipped them over to 96 K-Rock,
right,
to do mornings. And maybe that's when Stan came along, because they knew Stan from the other coast where they worked together, I think in Melbourne or somewhere in that area. Or Stewart. I think they were from Stewart, Florida.
Okay.
And so they either brought Haney in the beginning or when they changed to 96 K-Rock. I'm not for sure. And then, of course, Joe had his demons, as a lot of people who come from Southwest Florida know, had some, drug issues and it's just, some bad times.
Yeah.
And he fought it, got out, got in, got out.
Yeah.
And then, Stan and Haney had enough of it. And so they left. And so then that's when my son actually joined Joe Scott and worked with him in the mornings for a while.
Right.
And then it was Stan and Haney, and they moved to afternoons. And I think they had Joe and Gentry and who else was ever there, in the mornings. And then they just moved people around a lot.
Right.
But they always, even when Joe had his problems, Beasley Broadcasting, because he did make them money, stood by his side the entire time. Stan and Haney made money for Beasley Broadcasting. They stood by them the entire time. Now, they changed formats a little bit on 96 K-Rock. They went a more progressive rock, which I, thought what Stan and Haney was doing was more of a classic rock, rock and roll formatted people
absolutely.
in that age demo and everything else, but they still kept them. They still kept them in the afternoon and let them do what many didn't let us do after we left, our radio station. They let Stan and Haney be Stan and Haney, where, once we did find another job in Southwest Florida, we were BJ and Bill, but they didn't let us be BJ and Bill. Right. They had other ideas what they wanted for a morning show, and we had to follow along.
Again,
but they always let Stan and Haney be Stan and Haney, and they were Stan and Haney, or whatever it was with Joe and Stan and Haney, but there for over 30 years at one radio station, where even when they changed and tweaked the format, they let them be who they were.
Right.
Hats off to Beasley Broadcasting for that.
Hats off to them for that. So somewhere there was some level of management awareness that said, oh, these guys are, I don't know if they're good or bad, but all I know is they make us money. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, nowadays I spend a lot of time studying these guys that are making money and building businesses with YouTube. They make videos about all kinds of things. How to use your iPhone. Bill makes videos. I make videos about how to use your iPhone for old people, for guys of our age, right? People, men and women of retirement years. There's a ton of money to be made in that, because in YouTube, you can get advertisers, just like a radio station. You can get advertisers and sponsorships and all kinds of things. And what does it take? All it takes is an audience. If you have eyeballs on your videos, you can make money. And again, I watch all kinds of videos to see how people are doing the work. And it's like, oh, I hate that. But guess what? He's got 1 million videos. Okay, I don't care that I hate it. I love the fact that he's got 1 million views and he's making money. So somewhere, the long story part of this, the bottom line of all this is, somewhere at Beasley Broadcasting, it's like they may or may not like what Stan and Haney are doing on the air every day, but by God, people listen to it and we make money with it. So we're okay with it. And they never had that. They never had that intelligence at Clear Channel to say BJ and Bill are number one in the audience we want to reach. No, we're going to change it. What?
And then we went to another station that wanted those same demos.
Right.
But they said, we want you to do it this way.
This way. Right.
Don't do it your way. Do it this way. And
I remember so clearly BJ Odom arguing with them, just let us try it our way for a while and see how it goes. Nope, can't do that. Oh, my God.
And then, of course, they came to us. Your ratings just aren't where we thought they would be.
No, Jason Sherlock.
It's time for us to let you go and do something different, because we're going in another direction.
No kidding, you idiot.
Well, if you went in the right direction the first time, maybe it'll work.
Right.
Don't want to shout out names, but I almost said Jim Social. I almost, but I didn't say
it. So funny.
You only listen to us, Jim Social.
Yeah. People who think, I mean, this is what happens when people think, and I'm not talking about the radio business, I'm talking about any business, any political party. You think you are smarter than your customers. When you think you are smarter than your clients and customers, you're going down the wrong rabbit hole, my friend, because it's the people that are spending money on you. I didn't listen to Howard Stern back in the day. I kind of like him now. He's mellowed a little with age. But I hated Howard Stern on the radio back in the day. But by God, he had millions and millions of listeners and made millions and millions of dollars for his corporate people. How do you not support that?
Right.
Okay, Howard, I'm not going to listen to you, but you keep doing what you're doing because the money is rolling in, and I kind of like that part. So, again, whether I'm selling hamburgers or beer or tickets to a football game, if I don't like my coach, but he wins and people come to the game and spend money at my stadium, I love this guy.
And then we go back to our first part of our show.
Right.
Caitlin Clark, she's bringing in the dollar. She sells out stadiums everywhere she goes.
Everywhere she goes. Everywhere she goes. Exactly. That's a good callback to the discussion about the WNBA. If you're another player in the WNBA and you don't like Caitlin Clark because of the attention she's getting, you're thinking about this completely wrong, my friend. She's bringing attention and money to the game you play that pays you. And that's the same with BJ and Bill. We were bringing in money and attention and money to the business that paid us. And they thought in their infinite wisdom, they were smarter than our audience, not than BJ and Bill. They weren't smarter they probably were smarter than BJ and Bill. We're just a couple of idiots on the radio. Who cares? But people listen to those idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were proud of it.
Damn proud. But for some reason, somewhere, some management guru said, nah, we're smarter than our audience. We know what they want other than BJ and Bill. We know they want something else. No, you idiot. You're wrong. Okay. There you go. Rant over.
Oh, darn
I think.
it.
I might get started again.
I was really enjoying that. I could have listened to that the rest of the podcast. I was sitting here going, man, somebody just, give me a cigar or something.
Somewhere ears are burning, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, fine. Great. Whatever.
So
breathe.
But again, and I always did say that, there's good and bad with all companies. And I remember, even sometimes in radio, I had a chance to go, and I never will forget this. I had a chance to go to work weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Just weekends at WQYK in Tampa.
Okay.
And I said to myself, oh my God, this is the big times.
Right.
This is what it's all about.
Right.
I'm putting my voice out in Tampa, Florida.
Big time.
So, just like any station, the jocks come back from the remote because I was doing a weekend shift.
Right.
And, these are the big guys, that's getting paid the big dollars. And I'm sitting here with the big guys who make the big dollars. And I hear the same gripes and complaints that I heard when I was in Fort Myers, Florida, where I thought I was just a little peon. I said, nothing has changed, just the names and the amount of money I'm being paid have changed.
Right. Everything ramps up. The money, the ratings, the city, the whatever, everything is bigger, but the people are the same.
And they have the same. I mean, I could have swore the gripes they were having about the company and some other people in the building were the same gripes that you and I would talk about when we came in on a Monday morning. And I'm going, oh my God, nothing has changed.
Well, did it make it? Well, you were just like you said, you working weekends, but let's face it, if you'd have been the morning show in Tampa versus the morning show in Fort Myers, the gripes would have been the same, but maybe that 6-figure paycheck would have made it go down a little easier.
Yeah.
That would have calmed the rough seas a little better to see the check at the end of the month.
And I've told you this story before. I could have made the 6 figures in Tampa, not at WQIK, but at WRBQ, Q105,
right,
where I was offered by Night Train Ronnie Lane to come to Tampa Bay,
right,
to do mornings at said radio station,
right,
which was also owned by Clear Channel.
Interesting.
And this is like maybe a couple years before BJ and Bill got thrown out completely because of my little transplant fiasco that I went through.
Right.
But I was offered the job. I was made the offer, accepted the offer, came back to Fort Myers to sit down with our general manager and the program director at the time and said, hey, guess what? I've been offered a position that makes, let's just say, twice as much money as I'm presently making.
If not 3 times.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Because they talked about incentives, rating bonuses.
Sure.
It was like, oh my God, people that can make this kind of money.
Right.
And so Jim Keeney goes, I can't let you go.
Right.
I go, it's not up to you.
Oh, but it was.
Yes, because he calls
Yep.
Tampa, Florida.
Yep.
You don't get it. This is our cash hog. If we let him go, we're going to lose lots and lots. Well, why did you let me go? Because you just told the guys in Tampa 2 years before that, if you let me go, you were going to lose lots and lots of dollars. You should have known better back then. But, and so
right.
Ronnie Lane calls me, goes, BJ,
right.
I am so sorry. I go, what? He goes, we can't bring you to Tampa. I go, right. What happened? Did somebody, did what? Well, my general manager and your general manager talked, and we're all owned by the same company.
Yeah.
And they said you were the cash cow.
Which you were. Moo. Yeah. You were.
I was the cash cow.
Absolutely.
Not making the cash for the cow.
No. But, the radio station, cash cow.
Yeah.
BJ Odom, cash calf.
Yeah. So the calf wasn't allowed to leave the herd. Oh, I was never so pissed in my entire life.
And that's, yeah. I mean, I've heard the story several times, and it's always, it's crazy. It really is that you could, that a company could prevent somebody from, because you would think typically, if I work for Microsoft and I'm working for Microsoft in Tampa Bay, because I know they have an office there, and the office in, Dallas, Texas needs me, I'm moving, I'm going, I'm whatever. I'm at the same company. I mean, I guess there could probably be similar issues between offices. Oh, we love this guy. He's great. Well, great. But, the company says he's coming here. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why I went off on that tangent, but it was weird and not cool. And again, yet another sign of corporate short-sightedness. I guess it's a matter of companies, corporate, like radio stations, TV stations or whatever. They're good at making a product and making money. They're not so good at handling people. Well, the people in radio are different. I mean, I don't want to say different. Like, it's not like if you have BJ and Bill on the radio, if you have Stan and Haney on the radio, if you have those guys, whatever, those people, famous big names or whatever, that's not like making widgets. That's not like a factory that makes cars. Every car is the same. Well, but in radio, people are different. They have their strengths and weaknesses and their audiences, the most important part. People are going to listen to them. So anyway, I don't know where I'm.
The only thing that I can think that probably came down in this conversation could have been, he's our cash cow.
Right.
But because you never know this either. I mean, a change of city can also not mean the same success.
Of course.
You're having at one location. So maybe they said, he could maybe come up there and not be successful.
Of course.
And then, what are you going to do? And we've lost the revenue and you really never gain. I don't know what the conversation was, but all I know is
I understand. I do.
Their general manager and our general manager got together and had a little wampum, and I lost.
You lost. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I get it.
They lost.
Yeah. So I get it. I mean, again, it's, whatever. Boy, oh boy. Look at that. We've gone through we've done the whole hour talking about radio stuff. Impressive. Well, a little bit of WNBA in sports, but impressive.
I never will forget too, because the wife was discussing what she was going to buy at the time. And I said, you know what I want? I want a ski-doo. That's the first thing I'm buying. I'm buying a ski-doo. The first thing we get to Tampa, I forget what she had something picked out too. She goes, well, I'm going to get that. No problem. You get that. I'm going to get my ski-doo. Life is going to be beautiful. We're going to Tampa.
You're you live on a lake. You can get a ski-doo now.
I don't even know if I could. I might. Hey man, back then I could have rode one, had fun. Now I'd be going, oh,
yeah. Now I'm gonna be like, just pick up my sopping wet ass out of the pond after I fall off for the 10th time. Yeah, I get it. I do. I know. And again, people, friends, listeners, all of our listeners out there. It's all just stories now. It's like, we had a great time.
All the tears have been shed.
Right. A lot of tears have been shed along the way. It would have been great if it would have gone longer than it did, for sure. So much of my life would have been different. I'm sure yours too. But it is the best and the worst thing you can say about something. It is what it is.
Yep. That was my brother's favorite saying. It is what it is.
I hear a lot of people say it, and it's wonderful and it sucks at the same time. It is what it is.
Yeah. My brother had two sayings.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And just another day in paradise.
Just another day in paradise. Really? And he's in Indiana?
Yeah, he would still say, yep, just another day in paradise.
Good for him. Good for him.
Then when I said that one time, I said that to someone, and he was also in the Army, but they said that's like an armed services phrase too.
Oh, really? If you're in Afghanistan or something like that,
just another in the day desert, in paradise, because you can't change anything. You can't change anything, but you're alive. So it's just another day in paradise.
I have never, if you're in the military, I'm talking to our audience. For any of our military people out there, A, God bless you and thank you for your service. B, come over to BJ and Bill, come over to BJ and Bill podcast at Facebook and tell us if that's a real thing.
Because what it was, I said that sometime somewhere. I forget where I was. I go, just another day in paradise. And the guy said, oh, were you in the military?
Oh, really?
And I go, no. And he goes, well, that's like a military catchphrase, just another day in paradise.
I didn't.
And I'm thinking, well, my brother used to say it all the time and he was in Vietnam.
Right. Maybe that's where he picked it up.
Yeah. And I said, I just say it because of my brother, but no, I've never been, so.
Right. Wow. That's cool. That's super cool. All right. Well, and here we are recording this, on a holiday.
Yeah. Well, it's not really for our military this time.
Right. It's not a Memorial Day. It's a Labor Day. Yeah, I get it. But I kind of, for some reason, they kind of, those two things kind of squish together in my brain for some reason. So anyway.
I was thinking too, I remember when I lived up north, it's Labor Day weekend. It's the last weekend of summer.
Right.
We got 3 or 4 more months.
Well, here in Florida, yeah, it never ends.
It's the season that never ends.
Right. It just gets a little cooler.
Yeah, we get maybe fall type weather for a little while. Maybe a day or two, maybe a day or two of winter time. Of course, we just had a major cold front come through last week, and we didn't even get up to 90 that day.
Oh, okay. I'm making a face here thinking cold front. I don't remember cold front.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The weather guy was even saying, we got a cold front coming through.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably won't even get out of the 90s tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Okay, fine. Great. Whatever. Yeah. Here again in North NCFL, as we say, North Central Florida here in Gainesville, the winter months are fabulous. Not hot, not humid, nothing. It's awesome.
It's a little cold here, I think.
We're not there yet. I hear you, Grandpa, with your
I'm a wimp. Oh, before we end here and get going, I do want to say though, congratulations to Stan and Haney.
Yes.
2 good friends and great competitors. I remember way back in the day when Stan and Haney was, when BJ and Bill were the big, cash cow, as they called us.
Right.
Stan would even say on the air, when he was giving us a hard time, all I want to do in this business is make BJ Odom money. And awesome. So after we got let go and, then they became more popular as the years went on. And I heard some of the figures they were making. And I said, BJ would have been very, very happy if he could have ever made Stan and Haney money.
Right.
I just want to make Stan money.
That's
all I want to do now, make Stan money. And I can't make Stan money no more.
Well, again, it is what it is. Oh,
Just
my God.
another day in paradise.
Oh, my God. All right, folks. You go out there and have your day in paradise or make it a week in paradise. I mean, what the heck? It's a holiday. It'll be a great day off. Hop on your jet ski, buzz around the pond a little bit. Keep an eye out for BJ Odom. Have a great week. We'll see you again in a week. But until then, it's just up to BJ Odom to say,
See ya!